So, one really good way to accelerate, and I encourage you for the next week, if it resonates, if this is where you feel like this could be relevant for you at this timing, to try not to wait, or not to try not to wait, because trying is a form of waiting, but to simply not wait. To not wait for anything. What does that imply? What do I mean by that? Not wait. I mean that you catch yourself every time you're waiting for something. Whatever that is. Whether that is somebody that is 10 minutes late to an appointment and you're just standing there waiting. That's the obvious example, right? And instead of waiting then, do something else that you wanted to do that day that you can do on your phone. Or go to the grocery store instead. Or check in, are you 10 minutes away or 20 minutes away? If you're 20 minutes away, I'm going to get a sandwich or whatever it is. Just to not be in the energy of waiting. Or you can just stand there and seemingly be waiting for those 10, 15 minutes until that person arrives. But you're not waiting, because what you're doing is you're doing something spiritually oriented, something inwardly focused, something that has to do with appreciating everything that passes by, all the bypassers, all the people on the street, and recognizing that they are the one infinite creator, and recognizing how oblivious they are to that, which makes it even more beautiful and more mysterious and more fun. And to recognize the unity of it all, or to recognize that you really, really love people, or to recognize that you really, really want to forgive yourself, or to whatever it is that resonates for you, that you feel you could use a dosage of, that would amp you up, that would speed you up, that would accelerate your benefit extraction out of your theme in that moment. Go ahead and do that. Don't wait. That's just a thought. Oh, they're 10 minutes late. Now what do I do? Well, there is tons of things you could be doing, whether physical or non-physical. Does that make sense? This is a very simple, obvious example. But as you start practicing this, you'll see that it applies to much subtler things in life. And you can always apply this in different ways. Another example is where we tend to wait for our circumstances to change, to start doing what we actually love to be doing, right? That which connects us, that which plugs us into the motherboard of all that is, of existence itself. That which plugs us into that source energy of ourselves. That which plugs us into our higher self accelerative stream in life. Those things, those activities, those thought forms, those intentions, those conscious applications, realizations, contemplations, meditations, etc. Or any other act, even physical acts, like going to the grocery store and getting what you want to get. From that all the way to recognizing that all is the one and the one is all. And anything in between, anything that gives you passion, anything that plugs you in, anything that gives you inspiration, should not be waited for. Nothing else should be waited for before you do these things. And see how often you tend to wait. Oh no, I'll wait with that. I'll wait until this person arrives. I'll wait until this comes around. I'll wait until I have a little more money. How can you do the things that you project you desire to do to the best of your present ability, to the best of your present means? How can you get closest to that expression now, today, even if you do not have that $1 million that you seemingly need to start that community you want to start, or whatever it is? Doesn't matter. You start acting on that to the best of your ability, because here's the thing, that $1 million will not get to you if you do not get to it. And the way to get to that $1 million, which you need to actually establish the community that you desire, the way to get there is to get there. And how do you get there? By not waiting. If you wait, it keeps waiting for you. You have to stop waiting. You have to stop being indecisive. You have to stop being stagnant. You have to stop being lethargic. Now, this is not opposite acceptance. In fact, you cannot truly accept your life if you do not, at a gut, hardcore level, love your life. Again, the practice of acceptance follows naturally as you keep acting in ways that excite you. When you don't, the only true spiritual practice that gets closest to true acceptance is tolerance, which is, again, what many people teach each other and learn. Because that's what it's like to be spiritual. That's what it's like to be Buddhist. That's what it's like to be Zen-like. It's to be docile. To be, what's the word? Docile, right? Docile? How do you pronounce that? Docile? Docile? Okay, you get the point. So brain dead, basically, right? The most brain dead people are the most spiritually claimed ones, too. Because they've come to a state of utter tolerance, and then they die of cancer, usually. Because they're not listening to their signs. They're not listening. They're not flowing with life. Right? Can you see that? Either way, What I'm teaching is excitement. It's bliss, it's ecstasy, it's to flow, it's to not wait. It's to be active, it's to be the co-creator you're meant to be. It's to be the one that you are desiring yourself to be from a higher level of consciousness. Call it your higher self, call it the creator itself ultimately. But you are desired to be this open-hearted, crystalline, reflective portion of all that is consciousness, expressing in a unique way. And decisively so, immediately so, directly so, passionately so. There's no sense in living your life without that thrill, without that excitement. Experiment with not waiting. Don't postpone yourself, acting, being, feeling, thinking, reflecting, applying your consciousness in the ways that you wish to apply it. To apply your body in the ways you wish to apply it, again with integrity and respect. And when you no longer wait for something else to occur before you start acting on who you really are, then immediately those things that you think you desire or actually need will wrap around you, behind you, and will start supporting you effortlessly without you having to be focused on them as separate objects, such as, money, or resources, or friends, or different location, or new car, or different career, or when is my boss finally going to fire me? All these things, all these postponements are reflecting you, your own postponement. And when you start moving, just because you can, just because you see that, regardless of circumstance, you have the freedom to move to a great extent, to move your life in a great extent, to move yourself, to be focused on your state of being and not on your circumstance, to move from a space of recognizing only your state of being and not your circumstance. Then all these things that are objects to you, and objects are always obstacles. As soon as you notice an object, it becomes some kind of obstacle, even though it's not really there. But when you don't turn anything into an object, if that makes any sense, when you don't objectify anything, when you don't turn anything into anything, you just leave it be the smoke that it is, the empty energy that it is. And you don't say, oh, this has some kind of power over me choosing to do what I love to do. I will wait for that to happen before I start acting to the best of my ability, or to at least imitate, get as close as I can to the thing I think represents my actual desire that maybe requires 100K. But that doesn't matter. I'm going to act in the best way I can to come as close as I can to that result and enjoy it as if it is as real as the real thing, because it is. The process, the experience is what's real. The symbol is just a symbol, and it moves around. It's a moving target all the time. Oh, I want this. Oh, I want that. Oh, I want that. Those are just your mental representations that interpret, that translate your true inspiration wanting to come through, wanting to burst free, wanting to explode. Does that make sense? So don't be too focused on the representations of your joy. Let them be what they are. Just notice they are symbols. And they represent, all of them combined, all these things you think you desire, whether they're activities, careers, or objects, or material things, or money. All these things just represent who you know yourself to truly be and not act on in this moment. That's why it seems so appealing to you, perhaps, to have $1 million, just as an example, a general example that applies to many people. For many people, it's exciting to have the idea that they have $1 million. Why? Because it represents freedom to them. That's all it is, which they're not acting on right now. In other words, money represents their true self to them. That's their translation of it. $1 million represents me being able to do what I want to do, which is something I'm not doing. That's why it's alluring for me to think of money, because that would mean I can actually do that. But that points you to a limiting idea that you have, that you cannot fully act on your ability, on your desire to be, to express yourself fully, and that you're waiting for something else to come along first. This stagnates the flow. This stagnates the stream. This stagnates the body, makes it rigid and solid, instead of malleable and flexible and free and alive and energetic. And any other portion of your beingness here will also stagnate to an extent. Whereas if you keep moving and you don't give too much, if any, credit to circumstance, and you keep acting on it, on your joy to the best of your ability, then things keep moving. You're not waiting, so life is not waiting for you. Because now it starts to reflect your movement, your change, your assertiveness, your decisiveness, your responsiveness, your responsibility, your ability to respond. All these exciting things that put you in the hot seat of being the empowered consciousness that you are, rather than the victimized consciousness to your own ideas.